Hi everyone, it's Ali and thanks so much for joining me. I've had a little bit of a break for a while from doing card making videos, but I'm back and I hope you enjoy this one. I've made this card as part of my design team role for the Scrapbook store, which is a fantastic store in Perth, Western Australia, and I've made an interactive two-way slider card which I hope you enjoy. I've used the Scootin By stamp set from Fawn, part of the new release, and of course I've used my Misty to stamp the images out, and I'm just going to pop them aside for a little while I make my mechanism. I'm going to make a nice sturdy mechanism, so I'm going to glue two pieces of my cardstock together today just to make it really solid so that it withstands all the use. So I'm just using my glue stick and gluing those two pieces together. When it was dry, I just cut a piece out. It was approximately sort of 5 inches by 2 inches. I just made it long enough to fit across my card, and then I'm measuring in about, I guess, just a half centimetre and ruling a faint line. I wasn't really too worried about the exact measurements because all I'm trying to do is just cut a notch in each end of this piece and just making sure that it's even on each end. So the dimensions aren't really that important. It's creating a piece a bit like the double slider die, I think it is, from Fawn. So if you're familiar with that die, it's going to be a similar mechanism to this. So I've just cut some 2 even notches on the end of this piece. I just finish off the cutting there with my scalpel to make it nice and neat, like so. And then what you're going to do is wrap a piece of plastic bag around the centre of that. I've just trimmed off those little pieces on the end because they decided they didn't need to be that long. And I've grabbed my piece of very thin plastic bag. You can use just freezer bags for this, or like doggy poop bags. There's all different sorts of very thin bags. Anything thin like that will work quite well with this mechanism as long as it slides around quite easily. So I'm just trimming that to size, and then I'm going to adhere it together so that it can roll around my centerpiece. I'm just using some double-sided tape there to secure it, trimming off any excess, and then taking off the backing paper. And then you want to gently adhere this. You don't want to pull it really tightly, you just want to loosely adhere it so that it can still move quite freely around that piece of card. Now I'm going to make a pull tab and attach that to the plastic only. So I'm just measuring that up. Again, the pull tab's reinforced with 2 pieces of cardstock stuck together. And I'm just making sure that the plastic's going to still move freely around that centerpiece. And then I've got 2 small tabs that are going to have my little critters stuck on them. So I need to stick one on the front and then turn it over and stick one on the plastic at the back, so that when I pull the pull tab, the 2 pieces go in opposite directions. So I've grabbed my favourite things cloud stencil. I'm just going to create a background for the little critters to scoot their scooters across. And I've used tumbled glass distress ink there. So quickly created that background piece, and then I've got a couple of pieces of grey cardstock and I've cut them using the stitched hillside dies, and then I'm going to cut a kind of a channel along about halfway down one of the pieces so that my bottom tab can poke through and the bottom critter can move across the card. Just checking again that it's going to run quite smoothly. And then I put my slider piece onto my card. I just sort of rested it there and used 3D foam along halfway down the sides and along the bottom, making sure that the 3D foam didn't get in the way of the pull tab slider movement. And then I'm just going to attach a thin piece of strip of card there, which is just going to act as a stabilizer for the pull tab part so that it doesn't wobble around and move as I'm pulling it in and out. So I just secure that loosely again around the pull tab. Just make sure that it's not too tight again. So now I'm going to adhere on those little spots where I've pointed to and along the bottom so that it adheres my mechanism to the card. So just a little bit of tape. You don't want to put tape all the way along the top, obviously, because that will stop the top tab moving. So just be careful with that. Position it on and then press it down to secure it. Now we want to use those grey pieces that we cut before to cover the mechanism so we can't see that middle part. So I'm just using my piece with the channel cut across it, put that in place, and then I'm just pressing that down just so that it hides the actual mechanism itself, but the tabs can still move. And then another piece on the front and just press down gently. And as I go along, I just make sure that the mechanism always works and moves, just in case I've stuck something in the wrong place or I need to redo it. So I have cut out my little critters and my scooters and things, and I'm just going to use my Copics to colour them in. I won't show all of my colouring today just due to time constraints for the video, but you can check out lots of my other videos if you're interested in my colouring method. And then I'm adhering the little critters onto the scooters. They really are so cute. And I'm just going to put them on the slider, the tabs, so that they are going to go okay. You may need to trim your tabs like I have done so that they don't show behind your images. And again, just keep moving it every now and again to make sure everything's moving without getting in the way. Touch the little party hats and the balloons to the back of the little rabbit scooter as well. They look really cute moving across. So I've stamped out the sentiments on some black cardstock and white embossed them, and then cut them into little strips, and I've put a half circle there on the tab, the pull tab, so that I can grab it a little easier. And then I'm just going to adhere that whole thing onto the front of a white card base. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the card. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.